Put the kids to bed. Dad's home. We are the DWO podcast, representing the dad world order. I am the handsome head of household, Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. With me, as always, my furry-faced friends, Big Rig Eric Maffey.
Chop, chop.
Extra furry.
Where'd that snap? There it is.
Tape delay. Damn it.
Tape delay.
Love
Pretty
it.
solid, man.
Yeah, and last but not least, the good brother himself, the wrestling t-shirt guy, Cephas.
What's up, everybody? Yeah,
What is going on with you, sir?
you see it, man. Day 545 of the gimmick. Although I'm not wearing today's shirt because if you look at today's video, I got it soaking wet. So
Yeah.
I'm wearing a different shirt right now.
Let's say you look a little drier than last time I saw you.
Yeah. You're a little wet.
How fun is that?
Um,
That's awesome, dude.
So, as Mr. Magnificent said, we are the DWO podcast, and today, or this evening, I should say, we have with us Mr. Benjamin Kimera. Sir, how the heck are you?
Oh, tremendous, my friend. Tremendous. If I was any better, I would be dead. How are you guys doing?
Wow.
We're
Doing
doing pretty good.
Hunky dory.
Hunky dory. I like hearing that. It's good energy. Hunky
Yeah,
dory.
absolutely.
We pride ourselves on our good energy.
Well, we
I wanna
always like
thank
to
you guys
ask.
for the invite. I love doing these. I love doing these, not because of the publicity, but man, I love connecting with people that just love wrestling and love to talk about wrestling. And I really appreciate the invite. So thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
I can talk about
Yeah.
wrestling all day.
Yes.
That's how we are too. I mean, that's literally how this whole thing got started. Was a giant group text. Like we just were talking about it all the time, and then we were like, "Why don't we just do it on camera?" You know, like what the heck?
And here we are.
Have other
Here we
people
are.
join in. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Good
good.
time.
I watched a little bit of the one with Wolf. That was good. I'm obviously I'm close with him. He's a great guy, and I think it's the more wrestling, more even though you might talk about a negative subject here or there, the more positive wrestling content out there, in my opinion, the better.
Mm-hmm. We
I'm
agree.
also going to be moderately buzzed while I'm doing this, so who knows what's going to happen?
That's us majority of the
So
It's
are
time.
we.
So,
Pretty much a prerequisite around here.
All bets are off.
I don't know if you heard the bong sound that came across after my name, but I happen
No,
to have
that's
been doing
That's a
parts of
water. No, that's
A water
not what
pipe,
that is.
right.
That's a water pipe, yes.
it. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Did you rip a few?
I may be currently.
Nice.
but no,
I never got into the smoking. The gummies, yes. Smoking, I've never gotten into that. No judgment.
The
But
vaping is the
that's
better way
than
for
liquids, right?
that.
Well, for as much cardio as you probably gotta conserve, it's probably a good idea. So even with the stogie, you're not really inhaling. It's more of just a mouthfeel thing. So
For sure.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not an inhale by any means. And when you get to be my age, you need every square inch of lung capacity.
that's actually one of my favorite things to do whenever I drink really any kind of whiskey is to have a cigar with it. I feel like it gives.
Oh man.
You could have a whiskey that like you taste it at one time and then you smoke a cigar with it and it makes it taste completely different and in a really awesome way.
they actually have a few whiskeys they make that to pair, actually called cigar blends,
Yeah.
that they make to pair perfectly with cigars. So
There you go.
So Pappy Van Winkle, they make not just a bourbon to pair with the cigar, but they actually make cigars now. And they soak the wrapper and filler in the bourbon, and it is
oh yeah,
outstanding.
I'll bet it is.
Outstanding.
it's amazing how well those like bourbon notes and flavors go into so many different things. I mean, it could be sauces, desserts,
Yeah, food.
Yep.
cigars,
Any kind of food. Yeah.
yeah. It's
On
amazing.
my on my wedding, my what do you call it? My bachelor party. My father-in-law, he's a well-off individual. I wasn't hip to bourbon back then, but he got a whole bottle of Pappy for my bachelor party, and
Oh, nice.
we started drinking it, and all my friends are freaking out. I'm like, what? They're like, dude, that's like $100 a shot, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I had no idea, and that was my first dip into the world of high-class whiskeys and bourbons. Was Pappy Van Winkle. So
Please tell me you didn't put it on Coke.
no,
Yeah.
I drank it straight.
Okay. God,
Drink it straight.
we've come too
Straight
far not to be
forward
friends
from the
anymore,
pipe.
man.
The only
You
acceptable
had
Pappies.
Mike.
I
You
wouldn't
had that
make
happen to
them
you
old-fashioned.
too, didn't you? You got like a bottle as like a present or something. Or,
Yeah,
like,
they
you
got
knew the value of it, but the person giving it to you didn't, or something.
no,
like that?
the other way around.
You were like, oh, I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever.
I hadn't heard of it. I knew it was. My parents owned some land in Augusta, Kentucky. When Augusta has a distillery, actually just voted the best bourbon in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Their 13-year offering. But they knew I liked the number 13, and they like Augusta. Got me a bottle, and I didn't know what it cost. I snapped the wrapper on it, threw a big glass in the Glencairn, and sipped away. And they kind of looked at me like I always went carelessly at it. And I come to find out it's like a $200 retail bottle. So now I see, especially somebody, like my parents who are really like hip to it. I'm sure $200 on a bottle of whiskey was, crazy to them.
And you just like chug.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't go that far, but I mean, I poured a nice little. I took the neck off it
Was
pretty good.
was this the look in your dad's eye when you started just?
Annihilating Pappies. Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
So Ben, I gotta talk about it before we get too far into it, man. I don't like to fangirl too much, man. But I gotta say, when it comes to indie shows, there has never been a more consistent, more entertaining person for me to hate than Ben Kimera, brother. I listen. I got to give you your flowers, brother. You deserve it. The first time I saw you, you pissed me off for real, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And then as I learned to appreciate the craft, it's an artistry that you have, man, and I think it's brilliant. The way you work in Monster Island with your young cohort, and the way it's masterclass, man. And I like watching you, man. I really do.
Well, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. This is year number 24 for me doing this, and I love it so much, and I want to keep doing it indefinitely. And if we're talking about the art form, I'm just going to keep doing this until I get so banged up that I'm exposing the business. Even then, I'll probably do something backstage or whatever. But I really appreciate that. I think it's a rare quality now, especially with the way the business has evolved, to be somebody who can push people's buttons, and I appreciate that you saying that a lot, because it does take a lot of work now.
It does.
Wrestling business is very strange now.
There are very few people that are out today that are new that I think could hang with you. There's honestly only one locally, I think, that has that kind of spark that you do, and that's that Carson Drake guy. I don't know if you've seen Carson Drake too much live, but I really like the way he captivates the crowd as well.
I've seen him, man, and I gotta say, I think that he's really, he gets it. Like, he gets it when it comes to being a villain. He still has that. Not to get too far in the weeds, but he still has that appeal of being an attractive human being but you want to hate their guts simultaneously. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, he's like, it's like Kenny Omega, he's like a good looking guy in great shape, but you just want to punch him right in the mouth every time you see him. Right. So like, it's all about striking that really positive balance. I would love to work with him, but I just, like, we just are two ships passing in the night, because Cincinnati wrestling is hot again. It seems like it used to be. There's all these promotions kind of swirling around. There's FGW, NWF, Cincy Wrestling, APW, Battle on the Border. I mean, that's just 5 that consistently run. And I think that hopefully one day we can work together. But I'm with you right there. I think he's he's a fantastic performer.
Yeah.
And
really
God, if you
is.
throw Dayton in there, man, just between, when 50 miles separating them, that territory between
Mhm.
Dayton, Hamilton area, and Cincinnati, man, it is really a hotbed right now. And you got, plug,
Lexington, Louisville area too.
yeah, no kidding.
I mean, it's almost like it used to be back when I first started. It was just there weren't a litter of feds when I first started. It was HWA or NWF in Cincinnati,
Hmm.
and the talent there was just off the register because I was green as grass, but HWA had the contract guys, the WWE contract at the time. So you had guys like X Pac and Rosie and Jamal Umaga, and it was like, and then you're competing against Chad Allegra and Abyss and Wildcat Chris Harris, and it's just like any show you went to was like a 5-star show.
Right.
And then on the weekends, we would all drive down to OVW and do TV tapings. So it was like, I don't know, that time was just such a special, magnificent time in wrestling. And I feel like it can get that way again. Possibly. I'll say possibly.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, half the people you mentioned right there is, a who's who of, the current generation, a little bit of the former generation. So it's like they're all those stars that are the next generation are on the indies right now. Everything's just kind of feels a little bit more spread out, I guess, just because there are so many different ones. But like I've kind of thought about this with how AEW and New Japan are working together. It'd be cool to see, a lot of these local companies do like some kind of super show or, something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I agree with you.
It'd probably be sold out.
Heyo. I would love to see a super card like that. Do you mind if I take over for a second?
Absolutely.
Conversation, since you guys are fans. Give me your super card. Give me your local super card. Currently, right now, between Cincinnati and Dayton, who would you like to see either face each other, either intergerminate between promotions, or like a dream match from a specific promotion with two dudes who you haven't seen wrestle before, maybe on a regular basis?
I'll tell you one right off the rippy for me is Aaron Williams and Brian Pillman Jr. I feel like their styles, I've thought about that several times. I feel like their styles would clash in a way that would be magic. I feel like it would be they would hit each other real in a special way. It's hard to describe. It would almost be like two big guys that aren't big guys, if that makes sense. It's hard to describe the energy they both bring, but I feel like that would be excellent.
I mean, if I told you I wrestled Aaron Williams 150 times, I'd probably be low. And every time I come out of there, I'm expecting to be in a massive amount of pain the next day, and I'm not. But in the ring, I mean, holy smokes. It's just so good. He's just so he not only gets the business, but he has that natural talent. Now, I haven't wrestled Brian Pillman Jr., but I mean, Aaron's just magnificent, just a fantastic performer. So that's a great match. That's a fantastic match. What do you guys think? What else would you throw on there?
I would really like to see. I would say like a veteran Jack Vaughn.
Yeah.
And put him up against like Star Rider from NWF OVW.
Ooh, that'd be a really fun.
You know what I mean? Like the high flying,
Thigh
slap
slapping
guy against the veteran. I think that would be a really fun match to watch.
Everybody loves that spot, tackle crossover, body slam up and over, hit the ropes, thigh slap. That's a
I think like Star Rider.
I try to work that one in there every time.
Yeah, that's a good one because I feel like Star Rider, if you go to an NWF show currently, him versus the rest of the talent, and this is taking nothing away from any of the performers there because they're all wonderful fans, but he just seems like he is just kind of a tier above everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I watch Bustin' Loose and stuff, man, and he gets a really good reaction from the crowd.
He does, absolutely. He does. My kids are my 15-year-old son and all of his buddies love going to the shows, and they're all huge fans of his. So,
He's great. No, he's great.
Man.
That's a really good match.
And
That's
he's
a
really,
great match, actually.
both
So
those guys
far
are
you
really.
got Aaron Williams, Pillman Jr. You got Star Rider and veteran Jack Vaughn. Who else you got?
All right, Mike.
Man, I don't know. I'm not good at this one.
It is kind of hard.
Like
off the top of your head.
there's lots of like personalities I like. I mean, I've only been to like 3 FGW shows. Admittedly, been to a lot of NWF shows, but man, I any show that you can put Alpha, the guys
Sig.
from Alpha
Alpha
Sig
Sig.
in there, I think they're a draw.
Brett Oakley. That
I
man.
want to see Alpha Sig versus man, I'm blanking out. Chris Demise and his partner. What's the name of that team?
Oh, MCE, yeah.
MCE,
Money
yeah.
changes everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's a yeah. I
You
was
know
trying
who
to
I
think
have
of a trio.
I have a really big business crush on, not a sexual crush, a big business crush. Big Boss Anika. I think
Yeah.
she's so talented. She's so entertaining to watch. Like every time I see her, I'm just like, man, she's so good. I haven't seen any of her matches. I know she wrestles occasionally, but her managerial work is just fantastic. And I think that there's a lot, even if it's a tag match and one of Alpha Sig is the manager to MCE, just the interaction between an Alpha Sig member and Anika would be like gold.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I
Now
agree.
you
with
talk
that
about
for
the,
sure.
the it factor and these local people. Brett Oakley, man, that kid. Don't get me wrong, I love all of Alpha Sig, but Brett Oakley, he draws my attention. You know what I mean? I love chanting for him. My kids talk about Big Broody Brett all the time. Like, he's got something special there.
I agree. I think that he's fantastic. I know they've been doing some stuff with Sammy Callahan, and I think that's great because that'll be the next step. I don't know if that'll be much of a step in their development, but I think it'll be a step in their exposure.
Yes.
Definitely in their exposure. They're getting bigger and bigger each and every week. We actually just partnered with them. We've officially partnered with them in Tusslemania just this month, actually.
They're
We're
good.
officially one of the sponsors.
Yeah, they're actually going to be out at the Revolver Show tomorrow in Iowa. Like they're on the card, which is pretty cool. So they're getting exposure outside of Cincinnati.
And they got a good reception and a nice little pop in Dayton.
Oh,
To be
then
fair, a lot of them
then Crash
knew
Jackson
who
come
they
in
were.
and destroyed all of them.
Crash Jackson put him down.
I like Crash too. He's good.
Yeah,
Right, he is so good for a big man. We've had him on the show as well. He was an excellent guest.
He's just a fantastic dude. He usually comes with when he does FGW, he comes with Damian Chambers. Damian's quiet, but I like him a lot too. I just don't know him very well because he's a very quiet guy, but very, very nice.
It's funny you say that, man, because he is one of the most vocal heels. And this one time, man, I popped him, and I thought he was going to kick my ass, man. He's so believable, dude. I called him a pussy, and he's like, I'm not a fucking pussy. I was like, oh, no.
I'm kidding.
I love you, actually. I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he appreciates it, even though he calls you a pussy.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good card so far. What about a ladies match? What about a ladies match? Who would you like to see in a dream?
Mickey Victory versus Shauna Reed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's a solid one right there.
That's a good card. That's a good match right there. That'd be really good. I like working with
Both good technical wrestlers.
Shauna
And
Reed. It's good.
Yeah.
Quit.
I could give you one too. I want to see Harley Fairfax take on Miss Savannah Sweet from NWF. I think that the different characters would clash in a way that could tell a pretty good story.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Not to
I was
mention
thinking
Harley.
about who I'd want Harley to face. Excuse me. I was gonna say her against Riley would be good, but I think her against Savannah would be even better in terms of like storytelling.
Yeah,
especially
one badass chick and one badass chick. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You mean a chick with a bad ass? That's what you mean?
I'm trying to. I would really like
If you
to see
were to
just.
if you were to put together a main event for this super card, what would it be? Could be anything. What would it be? And don't cheap out and say a battle royal.
Well, it's not going to be a battle royal, but it's got to be a multi
tag team player.
I think a good way to do this is we could just all pick one and maybe do a four corners.
There you go.
If we're,
Me and
if we're,
you versus the Undertaker. That's how you.
I'm going to pick my corner of the local indie scene as our savior, Matt Taylor, because I am captivated by that man every single time he is in the ring. I feel like he, against any of the guys that you guys pick, we could make an awesome match right there.
That would be a good match. What do you think, Mr. Magnificent?
Oh, in the main event.
There's no wrong answer.
I know there's no wrong answer. I'm just trying to think.
No wrong answer.
We've already booked some of the.
Yeah, we booked some good ones already.
Yeah, Matt Taylor. See, I was trying to think of who to book Jacob Rose against because I find him very interesting. My initial impressions of him.
I think, and this is just an old guy talking. I love Jake Rose. I like working with Jake Rose. Before he gets to like the main event status, I think he needs like 2 or 3 more years of seasoning. And that's not and I've said that to his face, and he knows what his challenges are in the ring, and it's not anything other than experience. It's just because he's, and with a lot of those local guys too. And I apologize if I'm interrupting you.
No, you're good.
A lot of the stuff is, in my opinion, that class, that Jacob Rose, Killinger, Bryant Huff, Avery, those guys got royally screwed by COVID, because they've been in the business. I was talking to Jacob Rose about this the other day. He's like, I've been in the business technically 4 years, but I've had less than 100 matches still. And the whole, he basically didn't wrestle for a year and a half in front of an audience because of what was going on with COVID, and that's unfortunate. But I think he's going to be great one day too. You talk about the crop of next gen guys. I easily see Jacob Rose being a major player in AEW. Easily.
He's got good ring work too, man. And that's the thing. Not wrestlers don't have to, acknowledge your sign, but when they do and they use it as part of their match, that like I made a sign that says he eats cat litter, and it got over and people were chanting it, and he was yelling at the crowd, "I don't eat cat litter. I don't like that." And just those little quips, man. He's learning the business, and you can tell, man, he's absorbing everything he can. He did that match with Sean Casey when they were teamed up after he turned on Shauna and whatnot, and I could see that he was really trying to be under the learning tree.
Yeah.
I guess I thought that was a cool dynamic that he was. When I first saw him, he was a tag team champion with Shauna, and then the subsequent feud after that. I just thought that was something different than I've not used to seeing, and it was really cool the way it was handled. So, I guess our friend William Wolf helps with that too, though.
Well, I got one for this Four Corners match.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Andrew
Who you got?
Reed.
Andrew Reed.
Right now, Reed.
That beautiful moonsault.
Okay.
That dude, I'm telling you, that guy, every time I watch him, he just seems to get a little bit better every single time. And I've seen him in matches where it's just like he's almost going like too fast for his opponent sometimes. And this isn't a knock or anything, but like he's almost that much further along than a lot of the talent he seems to wrestle. So I think he would be fantastic in a Four Corners match like that.
How about Toby Kane?
Yeah,
that's
Prodigy.
That's a good match right there, dude. Let alone with a fourth one added.
Yep.
So if I were to pick and throw somebody in there based on the guys that you guys picked, you guys went with a youth movement. So if we're talking about an entertaining match plus someone who's in there who can quarterback that match, I got to put Ryan Michaels in there because
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Ryan would be able to get in there and kind of, for lack of a better word, I don't know how much we pull the curtain back on this show. How far do we pull the curtain back on this show?
As far
Hey,
as you
dude,
want.
Kurt Flippin.
You set the curtain on fire.
Yeah.
Burn the curtain.
Yeah.
No, but if we're talking about like, so when you're putting together a match or you want to put together a draw, putting together two veteran guys, and I'll just use this as a perfect example. Like if you want to talk about like magic in a match, you go back and look at those back-to-back WrestleManias with Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Those are the two best puro Japanese style hybrid American matches I think I've ever seen in my life. And I think they hold up. And what I mean by that is it's fast paced, knockout punches, finishers in the middle of the match, but it all makes sense and they sell everything perfectly. Undertaker hits a tombstone, Michaels might kick out, but he's rolling out of the ring and going to the floor.
Yeah.
That's, you look at on the indie scene now, and I'm not trying to point anybody out or disrespect anybody, but you'll see dudes hit, and I'm like a big, huge move. It's a 1, 2, 2 3/4 kick out, and then they're back up and running immediately after that.
Right. Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, whether the crowd acknowledges it or not, they subconsciously know, all right, these guys are full of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just hit a tombstone pile driver on this guy from the second rope, and he kicks out on 2 3/4, and then you're back up and doing crisscrosses and up and overs.
Yeah.
Like that to me, and I'm sorry if I'm going on a tangent here, but like
You're good.
you need a dude in a big match like that who's gonna be like, get your ass to the floor and sell that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, get
I was
out.
going to say, you've been hanging out with Jack Vaughn a lot. Good Lord. No. I'm just.
I'll tell you this.
Uh,
I can agree with that, Ben, because like I said, I had a short career in wrestling, but I've actually got to work a match with Ryan Michaels, and he made me look great. And let me tell you something, I am not great. I was never great, but he made me. He made me look great, and Ryan Michaels, I know him personally. He's one of my favorite friends. I'd do anything for that guy. So I think you are hitting the nail on the head. He's almost like, because he's still youthful, he's still young, but he's almost like he's like a young veteran in a way.
He's like, I always compare him to Bret Hart in the ring, and Aaron Williams too, because everything they do looks like a real struggle. It doesn't look like I'm going to punch you, now you're going to punch me, now we're going to do this, and then now we're going to do that. Everything they do looks like they're really fighting each other really hard. And that's why I like watching them even work together against each other, man. It's so good. And you're right. He's like, sorry, I'm smoking this cigar, but like the smoke outside is still messing with me. Is it messing with you guys?
Absolutely, dude. I have been miserable.
It was rough. And I had to go
My
outside.
sinuses are effed up.
I like to say,
Thanks, Canada.
yeah, thanks. You couldn't have just burned your marijuana fields? No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
That's been a whole different
Ryan
world.
Michaels is like the
McDonald's sales are through the roof.
Yeah. For some reason, every store in the tri-state area is sold out of Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
Yeah.
But why?
Find
No,
out.
Ryan Michaels is like Peyton Manning in there, and that's just what it is. He's a general. He's fantastic. That's who I would put in the main event.
That's perfect.
And
yeah,
that
exactly.
actually reminds me, like how you said those matches hold up. Like me and Mike watched Brett and Owen at WrestleMania 10 not too long ago, and like we were watching that match and we were like, dude, this could be like a main event on a Dynamite or a Raw or even one of the pay-per-views. Like this match happened back in the freaking 90s.
Yep.
And it's a match that holds up today. It's wild.
It's that Stampede Canadian style, man. It's that you have to train how to work on amateur wrestling mats in Stu's dungeon, and then maybe after a year and a half we'll let you hit the ropes or whatever. You know what I mean? But just learning how to tussle like that and work like that without leaving your feet and making it still compelling is just, it's definitely a lost art form now.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Canada.
Thanks for that one, Canada.
Ruining
Sincerely.
everything.
Well, I mean, because that's kind of how, like, there's a lot of really athletic guys, you know, on the indies and in the major promotions nowadays, and I can appreciate them for what they are, but after a while, like, you keep seeing it's the same, you know. All right, let's do 800 backflips outside of the ring and this, that, and the other. And there are times where I want to watch that, but there's also times where I want to watch these guys wrestle each other. You know what I mean? I want to see that, you know, maybe more old school or whatever you want to call it, but like that's why I like FTR so much, because every match those guys have, they make it look like they are just fighting their asses off, and I love it.
And it
You know,
creates.
something I want to bring up that I love about FGW and the whole facet of now is the fact that you guys like are so accepting of some of these young people, because you know there's a lot of different creeds and types of people that weren't quite represented back in the day. You know what I mean? And the fact to see that wrestling is so welcoming now. I have a few friends who are, for the lack of better words, who are transgender, and they have representation in wrestling now. So for them to see that, it's pretty neat. You know what I mean? I have seen you be a stalwart and standing up for people with different creeds and stuff. And I really like that part of you, man. You know, I mean, you're a hell of a heel, but you're also a really fucking good guy.
Well, there's Benjamin Kimera, and then there's me.
Yeah.
And all I have left, you know, I've done tryouts for WWE. I wrestled in TNA when they first started. I've wrestled for Ring of Honor. I wrestled in Canada. I wrestled in Mexico. Unfortunately, my heyday was in the MySpace era, so there's just a few scraps of evidence of it out there. But
I miss MySpace.
I do too. It's so much better than anything.
My page
You
was
can rank your friends.
Yeah. That was the killer part, but we all learned how to like code. You know, we're all like
HTML code. Your whole
right?
your
We're
whole
all like
site.
coding our space or whatever. It was so good, but you know, I think that it sounds like I hate talking about myself because every time I hear old timer talk about themselves, I'm like,
bro, that's what you're here to do.
But in my life and my career, it's often made me very unpopular. Very unpopular is that I seek balance. I want to take everything that's old school that drew 6, 10, 12, 15,000 people. All of those elements we can still do that. It's just a lost art form. And I want to suck it into the business. And then I want to take things like, okay, you have to have a hodgepodge of people on the show. And even though we come from all different walks of life and racial backgrounds and faith traditions, and people have different sexualities and gender identities, we can all suck those in, for lack of a better word, and blend those two things together to make a highly compelling show. But it makes me unpopular because I'm like, at some point, someone's going to have to be the bad guy. And that's why I always raise my hand and say, I'll be the bad guy, because I don't have a problem being Benjamin Kimera, because the people that know me outside, no one talks about, oh, did you know that Benjamin Kimera sponsors 3 kids in Haiti? That doesn't do very good for my supervillain persona. That's not going to do very well pissing people off. Oh, did you know that he volunteers at a coat drive outside of Ford Field every Thanksgiving before the Lions game? Oh, yeah, what a bad guy that is. You know, like, aww. I keep what I do for others separate from who I am, because you have to insulate your character from the rest of the world. You have to insulate the character from society and people who are, whether they're, it's like what MJF does. Like, I've worked with that guy one time at Rockstar, and I've been around him maybe 5 times in my life. He always seemed like a cool dude. He was amenable. But anytime the camera's on, or he's in public, or he's walking through an airport, he better be ready for a fist fight.
Yeah.
Right?
But like those people that are marginalized, like Juniper. No one was looking at Juniper until I looked at Juniper, and I was like, man, she's awesome, and she has a ton of charisma, and she looks really good, and she looks like a wrestler, and let's give her a go. And she was up in Michigan at the time. That's where she broke in, and nobody there was using her really because they didn't know where to use her. Do we have her wrestle the girls? Do we have her wrestle the guys? That I saw the original clips that she sent me was like, and I was actually mad for her, but she went along with it and was a pro. Was them making fun of the fact that she was trans, like and I'm just like, you can get heat on her another way.
Yeah.
Yep. You don't have to.
I mean, that is like, A, like, that's not a fucking angle, and B, that's the lowest hanging fruit of a fucking angle. Like,
to make
have some creativity, right? You piece of shit.
Right. Like, if I'm going to put heat on Juniper, I'm going to do something like, I would do that, but I would do that as the heel. I wouldn't be trying to make her a heel and make fun of the fact that she's a trans. If she's transgender, if I'm a baby face, that's
right.
Shitty.
Yeah. That makes
Benjamin
you a heel.
Kimera's like, I'm dropping the hammer on her for being trans, and I beat her ass, and then I bully her and harass her, and then 6 shows later she gets a big win on me. Now we're cooking. Right?
Go.
Yeah. Now we're telling a story that's positive for that community. But like I was saying before, not a lot of people have, what's the right word here, guys? I want to say the balls. Courage.
Intestinal fortitude.
Well, like you got, as a heel, you got to be there to push the buttons. And I know myself well enough in my personal life, and I'm confident enough in my open-mindedness and welcoming,
Hi, Storm.
behavior behind the scenes.
Comment for Storm. What up, Storm?
Oh, hey, Storm. She's another one. Storm is like, she's and I was actually going to follow up and talk about her next. Green as grass. I love her. She's going to be great, though. She has so much charisma, such a positive attitude, such a fantastic work ethic. Why don't you want that in your locker room?
Yeah.
Right?
But she's super friendly and she wants to be better. She's constantly seeing. I see posts where she's like, I'm gonna be better. I'm working better. You know what I mean? And it's awesome to see that. You want that in a wrestler.
And she just has great energy. Like from the first time I saw her, I think she was like working the doors, security or whatever at the shows, and just magnetic personality.
Cute as a button. Great smile.
Great
easy
smile.
To talk
absolutely.
To. So engaging. Like, I don't know. And and to your point there, you need someone to stand up against the bullies in the business.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
There are a lot. Well, we don't have to get into the weeds on that one because I'm a little buzzed. But Dayton has been cursed for many years with a bullying problem, and hopefully that's behind us now.
From what I'll say, one place that doesn't have that problem is Wrestling Revolver. That show right there, awesome.
FGW is another one.
Well, I mean, I know our experiences.
Love you too.
Love you too, girl. We get a lot of positivity from wrestling, and with all the craziness in the world, the negativity, it is kind of a place of, if you want to call it fantasy, but you can escape the reality of the cruel world for a little bit, and everybody kind of drops their inhibitions and their bullshit, and you go in, and everybody's, especially indie shows, everybody's there for a singular reason, and it's for the love of wrestling. There's not a lot of just. You don't get a lot of total casual fans. You may at first, but they'll be avid fans by the time they leave usually.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so great and positive. And I always joke that it's something weird that to be so positive from something based in violence.
But no, it's true though. But that's what's missing from wrestling now. Like, I don't know about you guys. I'm a huge fan of like nerd stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I think that I love Marvel. I love DC. You know, when we were kids, it was the Transformers and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But like, if you look, Captain America is only as good as the Red Skull is bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thor is only as good as Hela is bad.
Say it.
And they all have
Batman and Joker.
what Batman is only as good. If you look at Batman superficially, and this is the perfect analogy with wrestling, I've got gross mental and emotional problems, but I kind of sharpen those mental and emotional problems for good. But I will savagely beat and cripple criminals. I'll beat them within an inch of their life. And you would
Bad
look
guys.
at a guy like that and be like, that's a villain. But you have the Joker, who's that much worse than Batman, and comparing and contrasting the two, you know, Batman becomes the hero. Why? Because he doesn't kill people and he wants to stop the guy that does.
Yep.
Or if you think about it like this, I mean, how interesting is Batman without the bad guys? The bad guys, you know, the villains in the story are usually, honestly, the more interesting characters.
Well, they're the most interesting characters. And if you notice in comic books, the comic book heroes that are the most successful, Batman and Spider-Man, have the best villains.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you
Two-Face, for example.
Yep. And it's all based and grounded in reality. It's something that people can connect to. Like, you know, the Batman story, One Bad Day. Everybody's just one bad day from going over the deep end.
Yep.
And then you have me, Thanos, for all of it.
Well, and an analogy that I've heard too, which I would love to see more of these stories told, is, I don't know if the story's really been told yet, but it's an interesting concept, is having a heel, say like MJF, right? And then you have another heel that's kind of a rising star, maybe causing a bunch of problems, whatever, and none of the faces can beat him. But they have to go to MJF to out motherfuck this heel. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's so much of a problem that they're like, I'm Batman and I can't beat him. I have to turn to Joker to get rid of Two-Face or something, you know?
You guys are young, but that was kind of the Vince McMahon corporate
Thank you.
storyline with Satan. You know, with like, Undertaker's Satan, and now I'm Vince McMahon and I have to get into league with Stone Cold Steve Austin, my enemy, to take down the Undertaker.
Yeah.
And then the big swerve was that Vince was the guy pulling the strings with the Undertaker, and that man, that was so much heat. That was so good.
It was me, Austin. It was me.
Someone had to do it. Damn it!
Is
this a wrestling show? Or is this a wrestling show? Damn it!
I'm saying in the modern era, I think that would be a really, like, if, you know, say CM Punk starts coming in and just going off the rails as a heel, and nobody can beat him. Well, who's the guy that can out motherfuck CM Punk? It's MJF.
You know, that's got to be the ultimate ticket for Tony right now, is to get those two together, right? I mean, they just paid Punk and
then you have
MJF.
Punk was on his side all along or some shit. I don't know, you know?
It was me, MJF.
Yeah.
Punk's the leader of the Bullet Club.
That could be. The whole thing with wrestling is to give people what they want to see when they least expect to see it, and to really shock them, because that's how you get the reaction. You know, like we were talking about, and it's like, God, I don't want to go on an old guy rant. I really don't.
Please do.
How old are you?
No, not me, 58.
Oh, fuck, you are the old guy.
Holy shit!
Yeah, well, I defer, sir.
So
you don't look that, man. I thought you were like late 30s, early 40s. So
you gotta take care of yourself.
Damn.
Take care
you're
of
doing
yourself.
something right.
Respect, sir. Respect.
But you got to insulate the character, but you also can't be afraid to be the bad guy. And people just got to stop being friends with the fans. Like, I'm on YouTube right now exposing the business, and I don't really care anymore, because like, yeah, I mean, like, if you were to ask me 5 years ago, I would, like, people would be, oh, Ben's a jerk. because he's told me to stop doing this or stop doing that. I'm not doing that because I'm trying to control your ass. I'm doing that because you won't shut up about what we're doing, and you're giving away the magic trick. So if you are, it was the same with He Who Shall Not Be Named out of Dayton, Ohio. You know, making friends with fans, getting them to pay his bills, and act a certain way on shows, and all this stuff. And it made a terrible end user experience for the fan, because it wasn't about entertainment anymore. It was about a clique and who I know backstage and who I'm buddies with and who I'm pals with outside of here. And, oh, did you know I paid so-and-so's electric bill this week? Aren't I cool? No, you're not cool. You're just a mark.
Wow.
What? It's true. You know, like they're getting carnied by the boys to pay bills. And what are they getting out of it? So they could just say they're buddies with somebody.
You
know,
there's a lot of that out there, man.
And it's like, you know, these people want to belong.
Better put my name on that.
Yeah. If you want to belong and you want to be part of the business, I'm a firm believer.
I'll give you some money, but you better put my logo on your shit.
Yeah.
That's a fair trade.
I do have a new t-shirt. So
hey,
put it on there.
I love supporting the indies.
Oh man! Speaking of which, I gotta thank you for doing my t-shirt video with me, man. A few months ago, that was pretty cool.
It was always fun. It was fun, man.
Yeah, isn't it great?
But was I me, or was I Benjamin Kimera in the video?
I think you were a small amount of both. I don't know. I felt a little bit of sincerity from you, like you actually were there to support me, which I believe you were. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I also felt like there was a hint of the lion in there, for lack of a better term.
You should have planned it better. And you're like, one of these times you got to have some heel like come just like kick the shit out of you and like take over your video. Like you'd be like, hey guys, it's day whatever, and then boom,
like, he comes and cuts a promo on his opponent. That'd be cool as hell. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'd love that.
We'll see if we can work that out with my new shirt.
Hey, that would be fantastic.
Just fly in and hit you with the chair.
I will take it. I will take it, brother. I officially had 4 training sessions with Cody and one that you were at. So
4 whole ones, huh?
4 whole training sessions.
Hey, I'm staying with the party here. Give me 2 seconds. I got to go grab my cable. My thing just flashed.
Okay.
You're good.
Give me 2 seconds.
All right.
No worries.
Wise away. Fight forever.
So
initial reactions, guys.
So much fun.
Super good game.
Everything I need in a wrestling game. It's fun.
Yep.
It's fun.
The only thing I could ask for more now is maybe like a creation suite where I could build something and you could download it. You know what I mean? Other than that, I'm not
cross-platform.
Yeah, cross-platform, please. I'm
Dude,
very.
We have all 3 different systems.
Yeah,
I've got it on the P5.
I loved. So I've been doing the Road to the Elite with my creator wrestler.
I haven't tried it yet.
What is that, by the way?
Is that the story?
I wasn't sure what that.
Story mode. Yeah, you get signed by AEW and you wrestle on Dynamite every week, and you gotta like, work out and
career
eat,
mode,
and it's career mode. But every once in a while there will be what do you call it? Like you'll like go out to eat, and then one of the wrestlers will come in and be like, say something to you, and let's have a match on Rampage or something. And there was one where I went like sightseeing wherever we were, and CM Punk was out there, and he was like, hey, let's have my debut match on Rampage be against you. And I'm like, okay,
I'm gonna fuck you up,
dude. So my signature move is the Shuriken, Eddie Kingston spinning back fist.
Okay.
I hit him with like 7 of those. Like just kept going. And then I made him tap out with the camel clutch.
Bro, I about shit my pants when I realized that they named the F5 diverticulitis.
Yep.
That is a big fuck you, Brock.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. There's so many of those that we probably haven't found yet. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, Kenny, you sly fox.
I only had a little bit of time today, so I've only done a couple exhibition matches. Let's see. I did Moxley, obviously. I did MJF, Miro, and shit. Who was the last one? Either who.
There.
You know, GameStop had my pre-order, so I didn't get my pre-order code, so I have to pay for FTR now.
Oh,
Or Matt Hardy, I mean. I'm sorry.
Well, it's FTR
yeah.
and Matt Hardy. They're both.
I didn't get to play it.
No, FTR is part of the season pass.
Yeah. Hi, baby.
Well, they're part of the pre-order too. I got them with the pre-order. You get the season pass and all that jazz. Which that's the other thing. You can go in and you can switch who the titles go on.
Yeah.
Can you?
Because like
you can also win them in a match. Because I made Wardlow beat the shit out of MJF. That was my first thing I did.
I beat the shit out of Wardlow with MJF. I pulled out the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and that was the finisher. I'm so happy.
So I actually in my road to being elite, I had a match against Wardlow while he was with MJF, and I squashed him in 54 seconds. So
big rig.
I hit him with that shuriken, and then hit him with the Brian Cage. My finisher is the Brian Cage drill claw because I absolutely love that finisher. So
you leave the best muscle men of all time alone.
I really like.
What's that?
So you leave one of the best muscle men of all time alone.
Well, I'm a muscle man, and I squashed him. It's my time, motherfucker. Go take your ponytail and get out.
Oh,
so we've got Ben back live.
Sorry about that, everybody. My bad.
Good. No worries.
You're good. We were talking about the new Fight Forever that just came out. I don't know if you a gaming guy at all.
I am. I don't play wrestling games much anymore. I used to play them online, and then I got out of video games for a while. Oh God, I'm going to date myself terribly, but I had like a lot of the SmackDown versus Raw games, but with the trajectory of my career, I pretty much started. I don't want to say I was wrestling 7 days a week, but a typical day. If this was probably from 2002 to 2011, I was at practice on Monday night. We did the HWA TV taping on Tuesday. We had practice Wednesday, practice Thursday. Friday I had a show. Saturday I had a show. And Sunday I had a show. And that didn't leave a whole heck of a lot of time for video games after a while. And but honestly, I would use video games, even though Les Thatcher would mock everybody who did this. I'd use them to try to learn like a new move. Like if I was getting like another old guy rant is, I'm big enough that when I power bomb somebody, it means something.
Mm-hmm.
And when a guy who's 5'6" and 160 pounds power bomb somebody, it diminishes the power bomb, completely. So
right.
I would just try to learn like new holds. And that's really why I started using the attitude adjustment, not because I wanted to be like Cena. It's because nobody else could do it but me. So to everybody. So
and when someone of your stature does that move, it's considerably devastating.
The attitude adjustment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The FU.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Keith Lee. I don't even know what they call his finisher anymore, but his is like a modified like attitude adjustment into a power slam, and it like just looks like it murders people every single time he does it.
And he's strong enough and big enough where he's able to hold somebody's body in a like basically where he in wrestling a lot of times, pull back the curtain, you're giving yourself the move.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's one of those moves where you have to give it to the guy. Right. Go ahead. Sorry.
Posting. Someone told us once you learn posting, you'll never unsee it.
It's true. We're pulling back the curtain. Once you learn the posting and once you learn the down up or the office, you'll just that'll be all you'll ever see.
I don't know if I want to see that far though.
Man,
speaking of which, by the way, last time I seen you like choke slammed the shit out of a security guard, which was like giving us a stank eye all night. So
appreciate that.
Kudos.
You're welcome.
I know we're supposed to
anytime.
boo you at that moment, but we cheered the shit out of that.
I gotta bring something up before I forget too, man. Some of the work back in the day, I'm not sure. You wrestled 100 matches. I'm sure you probably don't remember this exact one, but you wrestled
over 2,200 matches.
I
I've
say
had.
100.
you wrestled Deja Vu. Rest in peace, Big Vu. You wrestled Deja Vu, man, and I remember just being so captivated how you guys were both giant men, but you were able to like seem like you floated, man. I feel like, and like I said, we're pulling the curtain back a little bit, but I feel like you definitely didn't get hurt in matches with Vu. I mean, you may have had moments, but I feel like you guys, while it looked like you were kicking each other's asses, I feel like you guys also had an interesting chemistry. You know what I mean? I feel like you guys took care of each other very well.
I mean, we were always an attraction match because we were the two biggest dudes in the company. So we would always kind of get put together with each other, and we wrestled many, many times. And it was just kind of like, Vu, if you want to give me a black eye, okay. If you want to split my skin with a chop, okay. Just be careful with, and that's how you know you really love somebody and trust them. And I use these hyperbolic terms. Everybody looks at me like a weirdo, but if they were in the business, they understood. I was in love with working with him. Not only did I enjoy working with him, I enjoyed the prospect of working with him and what we could do each and every time together. So, like I said, he would punch me for real. He would chop me for real. It would split my skin open. I'd have, basically like tears in my skin all across my chest from him chopping me. But when it came to him slamming me or clotheslining me or doing anything where he could break my jaw or my teeth or a bone or tear a ligament, light as a feather. Light as a feather.
I love hearing that.
He was a special guy.
He was a special guy. He was a special performer, and just the limitless opportunity or the limitless matches we could have to change it up. He was strong enough where I could take a big back body drop off of him, and that would always kind of begin his comeback on me. And every single time, people would just pop to their feet. And I'm not trying to put myself over, but like when a dude who's 6'3" gives a backdrop to a dude who's 6'5", and he goes flying 8 feet in the air, it gets a reaction. It's so simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we didn't do anything like that. We didn't even leave our feet until then. And that's why the crowd was like, oh my God, Yeah. And then we got into dropping each other on our heads. But,
Well, speaking of two big guys going against each other, can we add a new fantasy booking? Can we add the Rex Express versus
I'm loving it.
Ben Kimera?
Who?
Rex Express. Okay.
Rex Express.
Okay.
That'd be a good one.
He's a Roger Ruffin guy, and he's a good guy. He's a good guy. So he would meet your Joker very well.
I mean, I love working with guys who are, for lack of a better word, this is an old term, but white bread baby faces.
Yes.
Like I love working with guys like that because, like Aaron Williams, now he's kind of like a more edgier guy. But back in 2003, when we started wrestling each other, he was just young Top Gun Aaron Williams with the long blonde hair and the "Let's go, everybody!" and everybody loved him. Right. It was so easy to have a great match with him. And
let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go, everyone.
Oh, it's got to be terrible to be I can never be a baby face. There's only so many times you can do that. I see the generic baby face move in the ring, Wrestling 101, do a slam, and then let's go.
There's a couple people in the current new class that do that a bit much, but like you said, it's repetition. They're trying to find their name. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really tough to be a babyface now because it's like
everybody loves heels.
like, let's take Bosom Buddies for an example. People like Gigi because he's gay and he's extroverted. People like Pete because he's a hometown hero. Those two things don't apply to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not everybody's going to get that, I'm represented pop, babyface pop, and not everybody's going to get the hometown hero pop. So if you're a babyface outside of that, you got to figure out, like, what can I do to be appealing other than, what facet of my personality can I hone in on in order to get people to respond to me? And I think it's, those guys do that, both of those things really well, but it's really tough out there because it's like, why? Like you guys are fans of the business and you're a little bit smart to the business. So you understand it's the complexity and the effort that goes into being a villain, and you respect that. A lot of people who are in your boat are like, yeah, like I like MJF, or not supposed to. I'm still going to boo him, but that's the guy I respect because he's able to. Am I making any sense or not really?
Absolutely, man. That's like with Damian Chambers. I absolutely adore his work. I think he's fantastic, but I don't cheer for him. I boo him like I'm supposed to. Right. Now, I will admit, there are certain heels, and Monster Island being one of them, that I just can't fucking help myself. I like to cheer for people that some people don't like me to cheer for. Especially when I'm back even more.
What is it? There's a smattering of people, no matter how despicable we are, that are like into it. So what is the appeal for you?
For me, pissing the children off. I think it gives us a little bit of a chance to be a heel ourselves, because you can't just tell your boss to eat shit or that you're better than him and you're better than everyone. So to get a chance to kind of live vicariously with the heel, I think is what it is for me. When you guys come out, I see how much heat you have. So for me to just get a little bit of a taste of that and support you guys as well, so to give you guys something that you could potentially work off, you know what I mean? I might make a Monster Island sign, but if it doesn't get recognized, whatever. But if it does, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm adding to something in a way. It gives me a chance to feel like I'm more than just a fan. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, you are more than just a fan. You're an important and part of our show as a fan, yes, and as also what you bring to it outside of that. I think that, in my opinion, it's always, if I'm talking too much, please stop me.
No, brother, you're good.
No,
it is a hodgepodge of both. Like, if you go back and look at, like, to me, heels really started to be great in the modern era, and by modern I say anything from 1980 forwards, even though that's been 40 years. You get a smattering of,
it's been a great 40 years.
It's been a great 40 years, but you get a smattering of a reaction of both. There's some white hot heels you put out there, like the Iron Sheik,
right?
Dude, there's nothing likable about the Iron Sheik, and it's his job to go against the most liked guy to enhance his like that much more. Mm-hmm. He's going against Hogan. He's going against Warrior. He's going against Brett. He's going against, you know what I mean? He's going against these guys that they want to smash over as baby faces. And that's, that's his job. But then there's guys like, did you guys know this? And I just found this out the other day. The number 2 seller on WWE Shop through Fanatics is the NWO.
That's interesting.
I believe it.
We are
every
almost
single crowd you see. There's an NWO shirt there. Every single crowd
or sign. Yep.
Scott
Hall, before he passed, did this interview. Said he still gets 6-figure royalty checks from NWO merch.
That's funny because Kevin Nash just said he doesn't get shit. He's literally just bitching about it.
Yeah.
Well,
whatever. We probably owe him royalties too.
Yeah.
You never know when you're getting worked, first of all. Second, I can't imagine a world where they don't pay Kevin Nash royalties for
Absolutely.
merchandise and things like that. He's got to get now compared to his other endeavors. It's probably not that much. $100,000 to Kevin Nash probably is not a whole heck of a lot of money. You
And
know
by
what I
the
mean?
way, he was a total sweetheart to us, so I don't mean to
Same.
He was
throw
cool
shade
guy.
on his name.
No.
He was the first, in my opinion, not saying Danhausen isn't a legend or nothing, but he was the first true legend to hear about my wrestling T-shirt guy thing and be like, "Yeah, I'll do the video with you." You know what I mean? Like
He did
when
your video,
Kevin
bro?
Nash, huh?
He did your video?
You didn't know Kevin Nash did my video?
No, send me
Yeah,
that.
I did a one with Kevin Nash and
Him
Sean
and-
Waltman.
Him and
I
Waltman,
did
yeah.
No shit.
NWO shirt with
Oh
them.
wait, yeah. I did see that one. Never mind.
Yeah, but the fact that he did that, man, I don't know, he didn't have to do that shit. You know what I mean? And that's, I feel like a lot of the smarter wrestlers understand the people like me and the people that go to the indie shows to see them are the ones that really care about it. So he goes that extra effort. I feel like that's something nice when you get with some of the legends.
I mean,
Do you
that's
think
what
he understands
like,
though? Like despite the monetary thing, like the NWO carrying on is his legend, his legacy. Like he will live on forever. And it's amazing that something that happened in like the 90s and 2000s and 20, 30 years later is still that relevant.
How old were you guys when the NWO started?
So I'm 35 now, so I was a wee lad.
I'm 43.
I think I was
33.
9. So
yeah, I was like 6 or 7.
yeah.
So some of you guys, you might remember this when they first started. You could put an NWO T-shirt on anybody.
Yep.
Literally anybody on that roster could put an NWO T-shirt on and instantly be a main event guy.
I just about to say Horace Hogan myself.
Why was that the first one?
Oh shit! I guess
but they did
the
that.
Disciple.
Case in point.
Disciple, Sting, like when they would have another good one would be, even though I love his work and I think he's great, Scott Flash Norton. The bulk of his great work was in Japan, so not a lot of Americans were really familiar with Scott Norton. But you chuck an NWO T-shirt on the guy, and he's in the main event versus Bret Hart.
Yep.
Yep. Big meaty ass man too.
Credible.
I love this. I've never seen any of his Japan stuff, but I've heard that about him. I've heard that he was a legend in Japan.
Well, there's post World War II. Obviously, Japan hated our guts, even though they gave up and we became friends. They hated Americans. Any big, bulky white guy you could send to Japan that last name was not Von Erich was immediately an over villain. Like they don't do baby faces and heels like we do. You know what I mean? There's no real in Lucha Libre it's Rudo and Technico. I don't even think Japan has a name for baby faces and heels. But
I think all the outsiders are just Gaijin, which was
right.
Pretty much their version of "you're an outsider, we fucking hate you." I mean, Vader did it. Dr. Steve Blackman, Stan Hansen,
Lord Tensai, Albert.
Lord Tensai, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, he was so good. It was such a. Ugh.
I felt so bad for what happened to him in WWE because he was believable, man. But I think the fact that they put him against John Cena so early kind of hampered him going forward with that character. And then a few months later, he was a Funkasaurus. So, a Funkadactyl?
No, he was the hip hop hippo.
That's right. Yeah.
Tyrus was the Funkasaurus.
Yeah,
that's right. And that's another guy who was a big man who could talk and move and
got a stupid ass gimmick.
Well, I mean,
he made it work.
Right? Yeah, I mean, he made chicken salad out of chicken shit, but I mean,
the thing people have to understand about like in my heyday, I had multiple tryouts and they were like, great match, great interview. Guys on our show have a certain look. Are you willing to do what it takes to get a certain look? And what were they asking me? You know exactly what they were asking me.
Yes.
I tried
No.
that. I tried that 3 times. Every single time. I don't know if it was allergic reaction or what it was. It inflamed my kidney so bad I couldn't even get out of bed. And that was when I was like, you know what? I'm either going to be a big and fat, or I'm going to be skinny and not big and not look like a fighter. I have to just go with what I have and take the opportunities that I have, because this whole, the whole juice thing just wasn't working out for me. And at some point you got to let it go. And I'm not blame shifting. I'm just talking about my personal experience. And, that in my era, when I would be at my peak, and I would again say that would be like 2002 to 2015 would be it. That was the desired look. That's what they wanted to see. And I think that a lot of those guys, the bigger guys that didn't look like that, didn't get a push, like Tensai, like Tyrus. They got screen time because they were monstrous. They were 6'9" and 400 pounds and could do backflips or whatever. But are you telling me, and I'm not trying, and we'll talk about fantasy booking here, you couldn't picture Lord Tensai with Paul Heyman and the WWE Championship and be like a legitimate?
Oh God. Yeah.
Well, and now today you see guys like, Trevor Murdoch that are going out there and becoming NWA World Champion. Like, you don't need that look anymore, and it sucks that was, the standard back then. But you can be a big guy and still get out there and kick some ass, man. You don't have to just be muscle bound.
That's the beauty of having so many companies out there now, is that there is, opportunities to have a lot more diversity. And, there's not one singular voice in Connecticut that's dictating the entire industry.
You're absolutely right. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Look at Keith Lee. He's a big man who they wanted him to change his look. He never changed his look, you know what I mean? And he proved to them that, I can still entertain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's one of those big guys that is so agile for his size. Like, why would you want him to change his look? Because if he can do that, looking like he does, that alone pops the crowd.
My dog.
Both dogs making an appearance. For those not watching the video, you're missing out. 2 beautiful Great Danes are making an appearance on Mike's.
All my bitches love me.
Yeah,
bitches love me.
Oh man, Ben, we were already.
By the way, if you need a Great Dane, I know a guy. I got 10.
He's got 10 babies. Brother, I know we went 12 minutes over an hour, brother, but that's because it's been so easy talking to you. We definitely need to have you back on for another episode, man. I think you are a treasure trove of wrestling knowledge, and you've wrestled pretty much everyone. Yeah. So I know you have an amalgamy of stories that we've not even touched on.
He was part of the Black Mafia.
I do.
We didn't even touch about the fact that you and Mox have wrestled about 100 matches as well. So yeah,
LA Knight.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say to that one is
no chimeras. Yes.
How you going to be in the business?
How you going to be positive
for over 20 years and still not know how to drop an elbow?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You got the D balls? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, if you would come back on us, we'd love to have you back again, man. We'll discuss some more shit. If you ever have anything you need to promote or anything at all, brother, we're always excited to have you back, man.
Just keep an eye out for I know that I'm glad that FGW is out of Hamilton. Because not because of I don't like Hamilton, but because the city is very problematic. I think Hamilton's a great wrestling city, but the city is really hard to work with. I think that there's multiple buildings that they're closing in on that are close to the stadium, and I think or close to the old arena rather. and I think that's going to be. There's going to be some good things coming soon on the horizon for FGW. They've got the FGW
so.
meet and greet is tomorrow
2
night.
p.m.
I'm going to try to be there, but it is in Oxford, and I am in Detroit. So I'm going to try my best to be there, but that starts at 6 p.m. tomorrow. I know they're going to get some cookout and be there at the comic book shop in Oxford. And then also there's coming up on the July 8th at the Harley Davidson dealership in Westchester is the charity show. And so I believe that's free with donations, but double check me on that one. And just be on the lookout, man. New projects on the horizon, and just drop me an invite if you want me to come back on.
Absolutely.
All right,
man.
brother. We appreciate you very much, man.
Will you be up in?
I love you guys.
Detroit?
I love the business, and have a great night.
Heck yeah.
Oh
man.
yeah.
Will you be up in Detroit SummerSlam weekend by any chance?
Most likely, yeah.
August 5th.
We I don't know if you guys are married or whatever, but we can get some broads and go to the casino. How about that?
We'll talk about that offline.
I'll go with you, Mike.
I got plenty of those stories. Trust me.
I'll gladly sit at the hotel room and guard our luggage.
Yeah, Mike and I will live vicariously through you too.
When we were at the living room, me and John Moxley jumping on stage trying to run a spot with a stripper. I'll tell you about that one.
Oh my god!
See? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, an amalgamy of stories we've not even touched.
Yeah,
yet.
we're booking you for another show here very soon.
Yeah.
We need to hear that story.
Just drop the line. All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Ben. We really appreciate you, man. As always, we've been the DWO podcast. I've been Big Rig. He has been Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. He has been Wrestling T-Shirt Guy Cephas, and he has been Mr. Benjamin Kimera. Thank you so much for coming on. As always, you can check us out on all the social medias. We're on TikTok now at DWO_pod. We're uploading a lot of stuff there, trying to get a Twitch going, especially since we're on like every freaking console known to man. So we can play all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, check us out. Until next time, Top Dads, out.